You sound like a fool.
That's your opinion.
No, my opinion's the only one that counts.
Number 20, eBay scammer. This is one of the more audacious scams ever brought before Judge Judy's court. Defendant Kelly Filkins is being sued for defrauding an eBay customer.
Mrs. Davenport, what did you purchase at this auction?
We purchased two i580 cell phones.
For how much?
One was $201.50 and one was $255.56.
Filkins' ad was incredibly misleading. She was ostensibly selling two cell phones, but the plaintiff tells the judge she was sent a photo of two phones in the mail instead of the phones themselves. Once the judge finally susses out what happened here, she takes great pleasure in skewering Filkins for her ridiculous hustle.
You're a thief! Outrageous!
She takes the unrepentant defendant to task for everything from being a thief to setting a bad example for her children.
I'm older, smarter. If you live to be 120, you're not going to be as smart as I am in one finger.
Number 19, suing a grieving mother. Wendy Moore, the plaintiff in this case, is the definition of heartless. She's suing the grieving defendant for damages to her car. These were damages sustained in the accident that killed the defendant's daughter, a teenager whom the plaintiff's son let drive the car.
So your mom lets you drive the car all the time?
On the property.
Okay. So you thought there was no problem with that?
Right.
The judge listens to all the facts before unloading on Moore for her callousness and negligence.
And you let your 14-year-old son drive the car, he says.
Only on the property.
I don't care if he drives on the property, if he drives it on Pluto. He's not permitted to be behind the wheel of a car.
Moore is still unwilling to see how her own behavior led to the deadly accident, and Judge Judy does her best to illuminate the plaintiff. It doesn't work, which just makes the judge even angrier. By the end, the audience is applauding the verbal smackdown.
Miss Moore, there is something very wrong with you because other than saying to this lady,
Number 18, you sound like a fool. The best thing about a litigant who doesn't behave themselves in Judge Judy's courtroom is knowing they're just asking to be told off.
I don't believe you. Nobody. Why?
Yes, why?
Witness Carla Sanchez Lopez sure has a lot to say about a dog attack she didn't even see. She clearly has her whole speech all planned out too, but when she's asked some simple probing questions, she becomes smug and borderline belligerent. Instead of answering, Sanchez Lopez starts trying to double talk the judge. That's never a smart idea.
She has no picture. She has no proof. She has no witness.
Listen to me. She doesn't have to have a witness.
She
know what she has?
It's her word against hers. I'm sorry.
You sound like a fool.
By the end, the witness is sputtering out, only managing schoolyard insults and childish comebacks.
You sound like a fool.
That's your opinion.
No, my opinion's the only one that counts.
Number 17, neighborly protest. Mia Lord is a spirited senior citizen who cites Martin Luther King and Mahatma Gandhi as her heroes.
Now, Miss Lord.
Yes.
I read your answer.
Yes.
You don't deny that you play this noise.
I do not.
She's been staging a protest of her own against the loud noises coming from a neighbor's home. Unfortunately, her form of protest is a barrage of loud and high-pitched sounds that another set of neighbors are now suing her over.
The only way you think that you can get Mr. V-Bot to be quiet is to make everybody else in the neighborhood suffer a little bit so that they'll all get on his back.
Right.
Lord is the star of this episode, seeing it as a chance to call national attention to her plight. This case was early in the judge's tenure. She has a lot more patience for Lord than she would have later on in the series, and it's funny to watch how charmed she is by the woman.
I haven't finished my presentation.
You finished.
I
Because
haven't.
I finished. It's
I haven't.
$1,500 and you better stop playing that noise.
I protest.
Case is over.
Number 16, Moron Mom. We love Judge Scheindlin because she gets to say all the things we might like to.
When you filed the complaint for irreconcilable differences, you listed 2 children. Is that right?
Yes.
2 girls.
Yes.
In this case, she finds out that the defendant, Kathleen Kreftmeyer, decided to tell her 6-year-old daughter that her father might not be her biological father. Kreftmeyer doesn't seem to register that this was stupid, cruel, and terrible parenting on her part.
Why in the world would you tell a 6-year-old child that somebody who she believed was her father who it turns out is her father, might not be her father.
In fact, she doesn't really seem all that fazed by the judge's disgust with her. Her dead-eyed stare as Scheindlin tells what a moron she is just makes it all the sweeter to watch her get what's coming to her.
You're a moron.
Number 15. Adult novelties. There's a list of things we'd never thought we'd hear on Judge Judy, and this case includes 5 of them.
What is adult novelty?
We go into homes and hold parties for adults.
After hosting an adult toy party, the defendant didn't return several items she hadn't paid for. The plaintiff is suing for their return or the value of the items. She even suggests that one of these items that was returned had been used and not cleaned.
So that may have been used, but we would have appreciated that to have been cleaned up before she returned it to us.
Judge Judy can't even get too exasperated with this case. The plaintiff here is incredibly put together, professional, and respectful. This just makes her matter-of-factly listing out the various adult novelty toys all the funnier.
Order forms, the diving dolphin, good head.
I don't even want to ask what that.
Number 14. Truth or a lie. You wouldn't think Judge Judy would be good with kids. In this case from the show's series premiere, she is surprisingly gentle with a child named Adam.
You remember that, Adam?
Yes.
Want to tell me about it? Come up here.
The boy was bitten by the defendant's dog, and he's still clearly nervous and distressed by the event. The judge puts him at ease by testing him. Does he know the difference between the truth and a lie?
A lie is a story that you make up, and the truth is what happened.
When the judge asks some flattering and leading questions about herself, he picks up what she's putting down.
Now, if I were to tell you that the judge in this case is a young, beautiful woman, would that be the truth or a lie?
The truth?
Yes.
It's a perfect encapsulation of what makes her so compelling to watch. Number 13. Close your mouth, sir. The defendant can't believe what he's hearing.
Okay, you hit him. There's no question you hit him. There's no question you.
I thought he hit me.
No.
For the entire case, Reginald Burkett's mouth hangs open in silent, offended protest. How dare anyone suggest he caused this car accident? He tries to sell a story about the plaintiff's car magically sliding sideways into him. Clearly, Judge Judy isn't buying his version of events. In fact, she's so sick of him by the end that she can't even pretend to be nice.
Close your mouth, sir. Just say yes or no. This is the front of your car.
Even if his story made any sense to her, she's so over his overdramatic reactions that she can't help but mock him right to his face.
This is damage to the front end of your car, which hit his car in the rear. Your car hit his car.
Number 12. Stoned guy in court. If you're the type who loves smoking that Mary Jane, a courtroom is probably a pretty scary environment to be in while you're high. However, it seems like that didn't stop this guy from doing just that during his appearance on Judge Judy.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Scott? Is not an answer. What do you do for a living, Mr. Scott?
I actually got fired.
Accused of causing damage to a woman's car, he responds to Judge Judy's interrogations rather nonchalantly, even saying he didn't understand her questions and that she was, quote, speaking too fast.
Who do you live with?
Huh?
Who do you live with?
My witness?
He'd be charged $642 by the end of the hearing, but his smiling and constant laughter shows he might have burned one beforehand. There's always a place and a time to light some trees up, but this is certainly not one of them. Number 11. Twist ending. You can't handle the tooth. What starts out as a seemingly innocuous case between two dental workers turns into one of the best whodunits in Judge Judy history.
Are you telling me that there was no physical contact between you and the defendant?
Your Honor, there was no contact at all.
The plaintiff, Kenyatta Owens, attempts to sue the defendant, Angel McDaniel, after the latter reported inappropriate pictures of the plaintiff that had been posted online. The case takes a dark turn when it is revealed that McDaniel suffered injuries after an alleged altercation with Owens.
I don't believe she caused these injuries to herself.
On that day, Judge.
But just when things appear to be going the defendant's way, the case ends in a twist as Judge Judy realizes that McDaniels is lying.
You have a lawsuit pending against Dr.
I do.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000.
Remember, the case isn't over until the final drop of the gavel. Number 10. Judge Judy throws a paid extra out of her fake audience. As a member of Judge Judy's studio audience, certain things are expected of you. You'll have to laugh, sneer, and occasionally even gasp. However, this paid extra took things a little too far.
Out.
Moments after cracking one of her signature jokes, Judge Judy found herself locked in an epic stare-down with an audience member. This bozo was apparently laughing a little too hard, and it quickly drew the ire of TV's most recognizable judge.
Just go! Say nothing!
The look on the man's face is priceless, as he does his best impression of a deer in headlights. Just because you're an extra doesn't mean you're safe from Judy's justice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Number 9. John Lydon versus Judge Judy. Not only did John Lydon, also known as Johnny Rotten, punk legend and former frontman of the Sex Pistols, appear on a 90s episode of Judge Judy, he won. How and why Lydon ended up on the show is a mystery, but that didn't stop him from starting his case in an orderly and professional way.
He changed his mind, and he walked out on me that night.
The case involved one of Lydon's former drummers suing him for breach of contract and assault and battery, charges that were ultimately dismissed. In the end, Lydon can't help but crack a joke at the plaintiff's expense after Judge Judy rules in his favor.
Fairly obvious conclusion.
Number 8. Sibling rivalry. Can't we all just get along? These two siblings can't seem to keep their emotions in check after Judge Judy hands down her verdict.
I will prepare the order.
There's nothing left there.
Well, if there's nothing left, then get a small container.
As they begin to exit the courtroom, the sister starts hurling insults at her brother.
You won't be in that house either. Why? You won't be in that house.
Yeah,
Trust
whatever,
me.
Stacey.
Yeah, whatever.
Laying down a number of hilarious quips in her thick southern drawl. The sister is a hot mess, prattling on about Tom's tractor before threatening to bust her brother.
Bust you, dude.
The sister is ultimately escorted out of the room, leaving her brother and the rest of the courtroom in utter disbelief. Number 7. Drunk lady impression. Okay, this one is just weird. When defendant Dr. Noel Howell is asked to present his case, he appears to be an intelligent, well-spoken individual.
Her action became so bizarre, it was hilarious at times, dangerous at times.
However, when Judge Judy asks him to give her an example of the plaintiff's drunken behavior, things get a little strange.
And she was like, why?
The defendant's impression is straight up insane and begs the question, has this guy ever seen a drunk person before? Howell's bizarre impression was so crazy, we're amazed Judge Judy didn't immediately rule in favor of the plaintiff.
And she was?
Yes.
The smoking.
The good Antigua ganja.
Number 6. Rigor mortis stew. Two sisters are in court over car damages, but this isn't any old case about a car accident. The defendant, Carol Dettenheim, borrowed her sister's car without asking, and then had the misfortune to hit a deer.
Now, defense is you should have had better insurance. Is that your defense?
I thought she had full coverage.
Instead of paying for the damage, she decided to take lemons and make lemonade. More accurately, she made venison out of dead deer. Plaintiff Eve Dettenheim refused a portion of her sister's venison stew. She was not interested in this peace offering, which she called
rigor mortis stew.
Carol's more offended by that comment than the fact that she's being sued.
Not have rigor mortis, so I went back.
It remains one of the most hilarious things ever said on the show. Number 5. Rocket science. This is a perfect example of why you should never try to defend yourself in court.
Okay, she was crouching down by the pool like this.
No.
Yeah.
Defendant Ashley Hunter is accused of pushing her friend into a pool, ruining her cell phone in the process. When asked to recount what happened from her perspective, she wastes no time, accidentally admitting her own guilt in the process.
At all. I had no idea she had her iPhone. I felt awful after it happened.
As if that weren't bad enough, she then goes on to answer Judge Judy's rhetorical question about rocket science, proving that she's not the brightest bulb in the tanning bed.
What is rocket science?
Rocket science is when the scientists find out things about space.
It's girls like this that give blondes a bad name. Number 4. Guy with 10 kids. The court finds the defendant cringeworthy. In the span of only a couple of minutes, this defendant claims to be the father to 10 children, of which he is uncertain how many mothers there are.
How many?
About 4.
About 4? What do you mean about 4?
He then goes on to make a horribly misguided joke, implying that one of the mothers is Judge Judy's daughter. Finally, he tries to beat Judge Judy at her own game, quipping,
"This might be your show, but this is my episode."
Talk about bold. In the end, it's Judge Judy who gets the last laugh, as she scolds the man like he's a misbehaving schoolboy.
Do you understand?
Kind of, yeah.
Good. Well, perhaps if you stayed in school a little longer and stayed out of the bedroom, you'd understand better.
Number 3, Tupperware Lady. Karina Roy deserves a special Emmy Award for this performance.
She has a Tupperware cupboard, and she put her arm on one end of that Tupperware cupboard, and with all of her force, threw it on me, and I was standing behind her, and it landed on me.
She narrates the vicious Tupperware attack she suffered at the hands of a former roommate with so much enthusiasm that you almost forget we're talking about lightweight plastic containers. Roy, otherwise known as the Tupperware Lady, wins little favor with the judge.
I go over there, and I open it up, and it's kind of on the ground, so I kneel down, and there's my Tupperware.
Either Scheindlin really did have more patience back then, or she just knows great TV when she sees it. Regardless, we're eternally grateful that she lets Roy go until she tires herself out.
And Anna stood up and said, "Hey!" and looking directly at me, and said, "Hey, hey, the babies, the babies."
The fact that she wins the case is kind of a miracle. Number 2, Dog in Court. If you're looking for your feel-good moment of the week, this is it. This episode focuses on the quarrel between two people claiming ownership over a lost dog.
I have document from my vet, and they're saying the dog's a mixed breed and he's 5 years old.
The defendant claims to have purchased the dog from a woman on the street, while the plaintiff maintains that the dog was his and that it had simply run away a few days earlier. However, when Judge Judy demands that the dog be brought into the courtroom, it quickly becomes apparent who the real owner is. While Judge Judy is known for handing out justice, it is rarely this satisfying or adorable.
That's all. Take the dog.
Number 1, the worst plea ever. Quick, what's the defendant's job during a court case? If you answered to plead their innocence, congratulations, you're already smarter than this guy. After a teenage girl claims that the defendant stole her wallet, Judge Judy asks her to list what was inside the wallet at the time of the theft.
I had gift cards in there, my earpiece, and a calculator.
When she mentions that the wallet contained an earpiece, one of the defendants is quick to point out that there was no earpiece in the wallet, thus proving that he stole it.
There was no earpiece in the mail.
I love it.
This has got to be the easiest verdict Judge Judy has ever delivered.
Goodbye.
Did your favorite moment make the list? Let us know in the comments.
I'll holler at you later. I'll holler at you later.
Could you translate that for me?
He said, "I'll call you later."
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from Ms. Mojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.